Okay, let's get started. Welcome, everybody. My name is Johan Dora. I'm a real estate agent here in South Florida with Sotheby's International Realty. And today we're going to talk about the condo market in Miami and more specifically the opportunities in pre-sales, pre-construction sales on some of those residences. So let's dive in. Here are a few topics we're going to discuss today. So I'm going to talk now to you a little bit about myself, the brand, Sotheby's International Realty. We're going to talk a little bit about the Miami market, why Miami, the attractivity, the tax benefits, the growth that we've seen in this market, also the lifestyle and the opportunities that comes with it. We're going to talk a little bit about pre-construction, why pre-construction, benefits, the amenities, preferred pricing we can get you on those residences right now. Also the upside potential that you have on some of them. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the payment structure. And to finish in the fourth part, I'm going to show you 6 residences that I handpicked for you based on different criteria, the opportunity to do short-term rentals, no rental restrictions, also the quality of the developers and the location of those residences. So let's take a look at that. So as I told you, I've been in real estate for almost 15 years now, 10 years here in South Florida. I've been through different market cycles and I've been wearing different from real estate developers to fix and flip and investors and now real estate agents. So I have a global understanding of the market to better be able to assist you. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. If you want to know more, you can scan the little QR code. It's going to bring you to my YouTube page. On there, you can see an introduction video, but also a lot of different property tours that I've been recording over the years. So I really invite you to take a look at all of that. Sotheby's, so for those of you that don't know Sotheby's yet, it's the #1 real estate luxury brand in the world. It's a company that has been founded in the UK in 1976 as an auction house that has been expanded to real estate and different industries. Sotheby's today, it's a little bit over 20,000 agents in the world across 1,000 plus offices, and Sotheby's sell globally about $143 billion worth of real estate every year. So the first part of this presentation, we're going to talk about Miami, why invest in Miami. I would assume that some of you guys come from out of states, maybe even out of the country. Most of our clients currently comes from the Northeast, New York, Boston, Chicago. Also a lot of people from Canada and different countries. So if that's you, you're going to be very interested in this section. So first of all, Miami is a global city with an unlimited upside potential. You probably heard it in the news, in the press in the last few years. Miami has been several times as the Wall Street of the South, especially since the pandemic. A lot of people have been relocating from New York, from LA, from San Francisco, from a lot of different cities have been relocating here to Miami. So Miami is really becoming a hub for everything from the finance industry, real estate, hospitality, cryptocurrencies, everything related to finance really is relocating to Miami. So it's not only a vacation place like it used to be for many years. Now it's really a global city. International buyers are welcome to Miami. As a matter of fact, a lot of transactions happen with foreigners. Historically, Miami has always been kind of a safe haven. If you have some capital that you're looking to invest, especially if you're coming from Latin America, for example, it's a great place. A lot of people speak Spanish in Miami. So it's a great place to park some of this money in a place that is very stable politically, financially. So a lot of attractivity. I'm not going to deep dive into the visas and all of that, but if you're currently residing overseas, know that there's different ways to obtain, visa and green card through real estate investment. So feel free to reach out and I will guide you through the right attorneys to help you out. Strategic location. If you take the map of Florida right now and South Florida in specific, you're going to notice that there's only 20 miles between the Everglades and the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. What does it mean? Well, it means very clearly that, we have very limited space to build. And when you have a lot of demand and a very limited supply of land, automatically the value increase. So there's a few examples around the world. If you look at places like Monaco, for example, or Hong Kong, or a lot of different places with very limited land and a lot of growing demand, really the values skyrocket. So that's exactly what's happening right now in Miami. A lot of old properties are being demolished and bigger properties are being rebuilt. But at some point, it's going to be extremely limited because remember that a vast part of Florida is covered by the Everglades, which is a national park, and it's not going anywhere. It's always going to be a protected area. So yeah, very limited space to build. Let's talk a little bit about the population growth and the demand here in South Florida. As I've told you before, especially this trend has been going on for decades now, but especially since the pandemic, a lot of people have been moving to Florida. For different reasons. I was here during the pandemic. Florida was amazing. Everything was open. I was walking my dog to the park. It was a great lifestyle compared to what people have been experiencing in New York or different places. So it's a sunny place to live at. A lot of people love moving here for that. There's also tax benefits that are, very important as well. So if you look at the stats, about 1,000 people a day move to Florida. Most of this population is moving to South Florida. It's really a growing place. About 20% growth in the past decade. So it means we've been adding a little bit more than 3 million people to the state of Florida. As well, there is no state income tax in Florida, so it's a great benefit. Probably heard in the press, or you're about to hear that Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, have saved, I think it's a little bit over $1 billion in sales in taxes by relocating from California to Florida. So it's also one of the main reasons why people move to Florida. Here's a little graph to showcase, the growth. As you can see, it's not like an erratic growth with like some peak and dump. No, it's a very steady curve, and it's something based on all those criteria as I just told you. It's probably going to keep going for decades to come. So you can see gradually from 2014 to 2024, we've been adding 3 million people. A little bit of news to showcase what I just say. You can see different articles. You can Google it and you'll see by yourself in the news, about celebrities, business people moving to Florida, and also the massive exodus of people from high tax states such as New York or California. People are moving to Florida and Texas. So just a few articles to showcase that. Another effect that is important to keep in mind is the re-election of Donald Trump. As you know, he has very solid ground here in Palm Beach County and his house of Mar-a-Lago. And we've been seeing already a lot of people, flying to Florida. We've heard the name of the White House of the South several times. Historically, it's always been a very strong political place. But there's a bet that, a lot of people are going to be closer to the center of power, and so a lot of people are going to move to South Florida and especially this Palm Beach area for that reason. You recently heard last week that Elon Musk is planning to buy a penthouse in West Palm Beach, Bristol, for $100 million. So that's one of the examples. Comparatively, even though the price have been, steadily increasing over the last decade, Miami is still pretty affordable comparably to, similar places, major across the world. So as you can see, we have an average price per square foot on the construction condominium of about $1,200 a foot. Comparatively, New York is more in the $2,200. London is about $1,900. Paris about $2,000 a feet. And you can see example in different cities. So even though it's a major hub and it's really the place to be right now in the world, it's still a city that has a room for appreciation. You can see an example of different appreciation rate over the last few years. So just to explain to you a little bit this graph, you can see that we had about 5%, which is already way higher than the national average, but we had about 5% growth in 2019, and then you can see the years around pandemic that we had a spike in activity, price really exploded, and then from there it went much a little bit down, not in price but in appreciation per year. remember, it's only percentage of growth every year. But you can see that we still have a very steady appreciation year over year. 6.2% in 2023, and then 6.7 in 2024, and a projection for 2025. Now that the elections are behind us and interest rates are starting to drop, there's an estimation of about 8.4% of appreciation for 2025. This is an example to highlight those appreciation rate that I just showed you. So let's say you would have bought a place in Miami in 2019 for $1 million. You can see the evolution of this price year over year based on the percentage of growth that I just showed you. So you can see that in a little bit over 5 years, you would have more than double your money. Now let's jump into part 2 of this presentation. So we're going to talk about pre-construction. That's the topic of this webinar that we're going to do. Why invest in pre-construction and not in traditional already built older apartment building? Well, there's different reasons for that. First of all, it's a matter of security and stability. What I mean by that is you probably heard that on older condominiums in Miami, especially the waterfront, there has been topics such as reassessment. So you can have some expenses that can appear. Also, those older projects don't have the same construction standards as we have now. We because of hurricanes, because of catastrophes that happen, such as happen in Surfside, norms of construction have evolved dramatically in the last 10 years. So it's way safer to buy something that is new, that is current norms of construction. Also, you get world-class amenities. Everybody, especially if it's an investment and you want to rent it out, people are always looking for the newest spa and the newest gym equipment and rooftop terrace and all those things. So it's very important to have something that is up to today's expectation, I would say. Also going to have a lower cost of insurance. Obviously, the better the building is built, it's hurricane proof, so the cost of insurance is going to be lower than it would be on an older building. Predictability as far as the HOAs, we already know some of the building I'm going to show you are in the 135 to 160 per square feet. We have predictability on those prices. Why? Because it's a new building. We already know what's going to be in there, as opposed to buying condominium, an older one today in Miami. You could have some surprises. The HOA could have to do some repairs. That's some example. Right now, there is one in Miami. We've just budgeted $26 million worth of improvement that are necessary to bring it up to code. That's an example on an older building. None of that would happen on pre-construction because it's new, it's predictable. Also, the flexible payment structure, you don't need to spend all the money right now. Most of those residents take 2 to 3 years to being built. So it's going to be several deposits over the span of the construction. I'm going to go into more details into that, but it's also an interesting point. High rental demand, just as I say with the amenities, everybody wants to live in the newest building. So I'm pretty confident that the building that I selected for you here are going to be in a high demand in the coming years. Then you have instant equity. What I mean by instant equity is that if you buy those condominiums at the time of pre-sale, the first phase that we call the family and friends pricing, you're buying at the lowest price possible. And historically, between the friends and family pricing and the after construction, after delivery pricing, you already have an upside. You can literally resell this unit. I can resell this unit for you at delivery, but you pay for it. You have world-class amenities and lifestyle in those residences, a selection that I did for you. So this list is not exhaustive, so you might have more of it, you might have less. But those are, I would say, the one that I've seen in most of the newest projects right now. You're going to have the best gyms, you're going to have some yoga areas, you're going to have spa, sauna, cold plunge, golf simulator, kids area, rooftop pools, pickleball and paddle courts, restaurant, cafe, cocktail bars. Of course, you're going to have a valet, you're going to have a concierge, you're going to have hotel management in certain situations. I even seen some private beach club access and some private yacht membership for the residents to enjoy. So those are just some examples of the kind of amenities you can expect in those residences. Now let's talk a little bit about the upside and why I say it's a predictable growth. If you look at the market, the year-over-year appreciation has been on average 7% per year, which is significantly higher than any other market in the US. Over the past decade, this value has been over 75%. I think the exact number is 80% more, but over 75%, which means that South Florida is really a hotspot for real estate wealth creation. And on top of that, when you're investing in pre-sale, you're buying 10 to 20% lower than what the price is going to be once the unit is delivered. Price constantly increase. Of course, we need to be a little bit careful here because I don't have any crystal ball to predict the future. Something can always happen. But if you look at the past, usually you can have a pretty good idea of what's going to happen in the future. So I can tell you confidently that most of the time you're going to end up with a strong equity position once you resell this unit. Let's talk a little bit about the payment structure here. It's a little bit different than on traditional assets. So you're going to have several deposits depending on what time you invest in the project. Every developer has a slightly different version of it, but this is a good template, I would say. It's going to apply in most cases. It should be somewhere around that. So you're going to start with a deposit. Let's say tomorrow you decide to buy one of those units. You're going to put a 10% deposit. This first part is paid at the reservation. Then there's going to be another one at the signature of the contract, which happens usually 30 to 60 days after the reservation. You're going to pay another 20%. So you're going to be in for about 30% of the purchase price. Then there's going to be the groundbreaking that happened a few months later. So this timeline can change because some of the project I'm going to show you, they are already in the groundbreaking phase. But most of the time, it's going to be 12 months from the time of reservation. Then you're going to have to pay another 10%. So you're now at about 40%. And then there's usually a milestone payment. So the milestone payment might be once they build the roof or put the roof in the windows or something like that. There's going to be a milestone in your contract. Then you're going to pay another 10%. So it means everything bundled, you're going to be around 50% of the purchase price out of pocket. And then the residual 50%, well, you're going to pay it at the delivery. So once you get the keys of the unit. So it means really to pay the full price, you're going to have almost 3 years in front of you. So that's an advantage as well, as opposed to traditional real estate where you have to come to the closing table right away with the full amount. Price appreciation and timeline. So to give you a little bit of an idea of why it's important to come earlier on those projects. As you can see in the first phase, we already talked about it. It's the friends and family phase, the initial launch. This is going to be the lowest price you're ever going to get. So I really recommend that you position yourself as early as possible. Now, if you're a little bit more careful, you want to see the building, starting to get built and all of that, you can always buy some units later on, but the choice is going to be much more limited and the price are going to be higher. Why? Because, well, as you get closer to the delivery date, automatically the price increase. And at the same time, once you get closer to the delivery date, the inventory reduces because the developer has already sold most of the buildings. So it means when the inventory becomes shorter, automatically, it's the law of price and demand. Obviously, if you have less units available and a lot of demands, price increase. So to give you an idea, lowest price possible in the first 6 months, then 6 to 12 months, usually we see the price increase from 5 to 10%. That's the phase where after the groundbreaking, construction goes on. 12 to 18 months, we see another 10 to 20% in increase. When we approach completion, usually we have another 5 to 10%. And so once we reach delivery, that is usually about 36 to 48 months. That's approximately how long it takes to build one of those projects. The prices are typically 20 to 40% higher than what the first investor pay in the friends and family phase. So you can see two things. You can see, first of all, that it's way more interesting to buy early on. But you can also see that if you were someone that, let's say, buy in the friends and family phase with no intention of living in the project, and you just want to resell it right away when you get the keys without even living in the unit at all, you would already make a pretty good investment. As you can see on the picture, I didn't choose this picture by accident. You can see the Aston Martin Tower on this picture. And the Aston Martin Tower is the perfect example of that. It's a tower that has been delivered last year. And you can see already a lot of resale, and most of those resale are going right now for about 25 to 30% over what the people pay in the early days. You can see in the little box an example of, based on a $1 million investment, what would it looks like at different phase of this investment. So depending on what you're looking for, I'm assuming here, if you ended up on this webinar, or maybe you're watching the replay later on, that you're most likely an investor, you're most likely not living here in Miami, and you're looking for something that you may want to use for yourself a few weeks or a few months per year, but the rest of the time you would like to rent it out. If that's not you, that's perfectly fine. We have other residences, with like different rental restriction. But I did a selection for you of residences that are short-term rental approved, which is pretty rare. And most of those residents come with either management on site, or we have some property management company that can handle this side for you. Some of them even come with hotel management, meaning you have actually a front desk downstairs that can manage your rentals for you. I don't like talking about yield because it fluctuates a lot from one project to another, and occupancy, and there is really no way to predictably tell you how much you're going to make unless the building is already built and we have a few months or a few years of return. But I can tell you on average, based on different websites I've been checking online, that investors are seeing anywhere from 4 to 8% gross rental yield per year on Airbnb kind of investments in the Miami area. Also, a few numbers that can be interesting to know. There's been 25 million visitors in Miami in 2024, so it's really a big places for tourism. 80% occupancy rate on average in Miami, which definitely beats the national average that is just about 54%. And it is the number one travel destination on Airbnb in the US. We also notice that there's a growth of about 20% per year, year over year, since 2020. Also, a few other things that we've done in the past for our clients, we really try to go above and beyond to meet your needs. So, I've been living here for quite a few years now, so I have a sizable network. So, a few things that I've been asked in the past, I've helped people charter private jets or yachts. We actually have a partnership with a luxury car rental company. So if you come to Miami and you need a car, we can provide that. We also work with interior designers, with property management company, with attorneys and CPAs, and we also helped with private events in the past, or at least we work with someone that can manage this kind of events. All right, let's talk a little bit about the projects that we've been working on. So this is a small sample of what we have. We have a reference a little bit over 150 residences in South Florida between West Palm Beach and Miami. For investors today in the current market, those are the top 6 new construction projects for investor in South Florida for different reasons. I'm going to deep dive into it. First of all of those residences are approved for short-term rentals, which is pretty unique because once again, you want to be able to make a little bit of money when you're not using it, or at least even if you're not forced to rent it out, you can leave it empty if you want to, but you have the option to do so. So I think it's pretty important. All those residents are approved for that. Which is pretty rare in Miami. Most residencies are going to have 6 month minimum, or once a year or twice a year kind of rental restriction. On top of that, they all have some very specific criteria based on location, quality of the developers. We've really done a big work of research on those developers. So let's look at the first one, the Ryder residence. The Ryder is a residence that is in Wynwood. Most of you probably know Wynwood. It's kind of the artsy neighborhood of Miami. As you can see, it has a very specific architecture that you don't see very often in Miami. It has kind of like a Brooklyn loft kind of vibe. You see a lot of glass, metal, bricks, and it's also based on the theme of motorcycles. I'm going to show you some renderings and all of that, but it's a pretty unique project. So this residence is going to be delivered Q4 of 2026. It has from studios to 3-bedroom, 500 square feet up to 1,600 square feet. And the price range goes from 500,000 up to 1.8 million. The second residence that we're going to talk about is called Edge Home or Edge House. I think there might be some misspelling here. It's located in the Edgewater neighborhood. For those of you that don't know Miami very well, Edgewater is a great neighborhood with a view of the bay. It's very close to Midtown. It's very close to downtown as well, and it has incredible views. You can see it a little bit here in the background. You can see all the Venetian Island. You can see Miami Beach in the background. Very nice neighborhood. This residence in particular is going to be delivered Q2 of 2028. It has studios to 2-bedroom. The largest unit are 2-bedroom in this residence. And it goes from 400 square feet up to 900 square feet. The price range, which is pretty incredible, it starts at 400,000. So there's nothing like that in Miami. This is probably the most accessible studio that I've ever seen in Miami in the last year or so. So it goes from 400,000 up to $1.1 million. Going to the next residence, we have the Standard residence in Brickell. Most of you probably know the Standard brand from Miami. They have, I think, a residence hotel in New York as well. Very nice branded residence that is coming to Brickell. Delivery setup is scheduled for Q3 2027. It goes from studios to 2-bedroom, 495 square feet up to 1,300. And the price range go from 525 up to 2.3 million. The next one on the list is going to be Mercedes Place. It's going to be in downtown. It's scheduled for delivery on Q4 2028. It goes from studio to 3-bedroom, 463 square feet up to 2,700 square feet. And this residence starts at 500,000 up to 3.5 million. The next one is the only one that is in Fort Lauderdale. It's not in Miami. Why did I include this project, Nativo Fort Lauderdale? Well, because it is the first residence approved for short-term rentals only in Fort Lauderdale. So if you're on the market for something like that, there is no comparison. There is nothing else available. So very special project. with a delivery that is scheduled for the Q3 of 2028. It goes from studio to 3 bedroom, 500 square feet to 1100 square feet, and it starts at in the low 600s. The last one is going to be the Dolce Gabbana residence in Brickell. So uh, this one is a very, very unique project. First of all, it's going to be the tallest building in Miami. So it's going to be, as a matter of fact, the tallest building south of Manhattan. So if you look south of Manhattan, there's not going to be a single building higher than this one. There is one in Miami, the Waldorf Astoria, that should be about the same height, but we don't know. The Waldorf is going to be delivered first, so maybe we're going to play with the size of the antenna or something to catch up. But it's supposed to be the tallest building to come to Miami. Pretty unique residence because it is designed by Dolce Gabbana. It's their first residence here in the US. So they do all the furniture, they're going to do all the amenities. There's going to be a Dolce Gabbana spa in the residence as well. So very, very unique project to come to Miami. If you're looking for something that is truly unique with a value that is going to be very stable in the future, this is probably the best project to invest in right now. So obviously, because it's a project so unique, the pricing is a little bit higher. But if you look at the size of the unit, it starts at 1 bedroom, but the 1 bedroom is already 1100 square feet. So it's extremely large for 1 bedroom, and it goes all the way up to penthouses at 11,000 square feet. So the price range go from 2.2 million all the way up to 35 million. I'm not going to go in details on every single one of them because then I would keep you guys for hours. But I'm going to deep dive into two of those. So I selected the Ryder Residence because it's a project that I really like, very unique. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the Dolce Gabbana Residence as well, which is another project that is very unique as well. Okay, so the Ryder Residence is in Wynwood, as I explained before. As you can see, everything is based on the theme of motorcycle. It's a very unique vibe. This residence is going to be entirely furnished. Even the art piece are going to be included. So I completely forgot the name, but it's a very famous gallery in New York, I think, that is going to furnish all the to give all the art piece in every unit. So you can see some renderings of the inside of the unit, very, very sleek, modern furniture. A few things that are very unique about this residence. You're going to have an incredible restaurant on the rooftop. And you're also going to get a ride share, bike share area in the residence, which is pretty unique. We're going to have Triumph, Harley Davidson, Vespa, a bunch of different motorcycles that you can just go downstairs, take one, and go for a ride in Miami. So it's pretty cool. It's also very cool for your guests, if you're doing short-term rentals. And this residence is fully optimized for that. You're going to have management on site, plus a few additional things, such as there is a vinyl listening room, so kind of a private club area where you can just go there and listen to everything. There's going to be infrared sauna, cold plunge. There's going to be an art gallery in the building as well as a social media creation corner. We already talked a little bit about price range and all of that, so I'm not going to go into the details. I'm going to show you some of the rendering. First, the neighborhood. You guys probably already know the Wynwood neighborhood. So it's the art district of Miami. You're going to find, the Art Basel, for example, that is a big art event in Miami, is also going to be in this neighborhood and all over Miami, but a lot of events are actually happening there. A lot of pop-up events happening as well. You can see on one of the rendering here, Louis Vuitton that did a pop-up recently. A lot of things happening. It used to be a district ready for entertainment. Now it's really becoming a mix between, lifestyle, residences, entertainment. That's really a place where you can live, you can work, and you can be entertained as well. So very cool neighborhood. Um, Looking into the residence by itself, you can see in details all the amenities here. So you have the rooftop pool over there with the bar. You can also see those infrared sauna here, as well as a cold plunge area. The lobby of the residence, that is pretty cool design between the black and white pictures, the motorcycle. It's a very unique vibe. As well, some part of the lobby here you can see with those motorcycle. The private club area with the vinyl listening device. Some of the areas of the rooftop where you can just hang out with this amazing view of downtown. Um, the gym is going to be a state-of-the-art gym with, Peloton bike and all of that. Here are some renderings of the interior of the residence, so you can see the quality of the finishes, very modern vibe, very good style. Everything is going to be turnkey furnished. So it means you're buying a unit tomorrow, you just have to come with your luggage and your clothes. Everything down to the towels is going to be included in your price. Some rendering of the exterior, so you can see the valet entrance. You can see the rooftop, as well as some views from the street. You can see a little bit of the aesthetics of the building, the bricks, the glass, metal, all of that. Pretty cool building and architecture. Now we're going to deep dive a little bit into the units that are available at the rider. So there's obviously a bunch of different floor plans, but I selected my two favorite one just to give you an idea of what you can do here. So this unit right here, why did I selected it? Because it's a lockout unit. So that's something that is very appreciated on those short-term rental. Why? Because you're buying one unit, but you can actually divide it in two separate units. So what does it mean? It means that, if you have a big family and you come, you can use your full 3-bedroom, 3-bath. But if you just come alone, you can just use the hotel room and rent out the rest of it, or you can use a bigger apartment and rent out the hotel room. You can rent it out as a short-term rental to a big family, or you can rent it out to two separate people. So on an income and investment standpoint, it's very interesting. So let me just show you what I mean. You can see the full floor plan here. When you go in, you can see that you have this little lobby area with two doors. So the very cool thing is that you can actually close those doors, and you can rent this hotel room studio on one side with the little kitchen bar, and then you have the full apartment on this side. Here's a little highlight of the two floor plan if you were to do that. And once again, if you don't want to rent it out in two units, you can just use it as a full 3-bedroom. The hotel room become your master bedroom, and then you have the rest of it here. Another floor plan that is pretty popular is a studio. So as you can see, pretty large unit. You have 387 square feet, so it's a pretty big studio. Also coming entirely furnished. You have a little kitchenette area in here, and then you still have a balcony that is pretty nice for a studio. This example here is at 475. So it's pretty affordable for a studio. The other residence that I want to highlight today, that is a completely different kind of residence, is Dolce Gabbana. We talked about that. It's going to be one of the most amazing buildings to come to Miami. One of the tallest building in the city, the tallest building in the city, actually. And some of the few things that you're going to find there is going to be a sky pool lounge. You're going to find a private theater. You're going to have the Dolce Gabbana spa. Of course, fitness center, fine dining. We don't know yet who the restaurant or who the chef is going to be, but looking at the space and everything, I would assume that it's going to be Michelin star or at least this level of cuisine. Private wine cellar, designer lobby. There's going to be an exclusive clubhouse only for the residents. A children playroom area as well, a spa for the pets, and of course everything is going to be smart tech in the units, private elevators that go straight into your unit, and all of that. Let's take a look at the neighborhood a little bit. Most of you probably know Brickell. It's the financial center of Miami. It's a neighborhood that evolved a lot in the last few years, that became very, very trendy. You have the Brickell City Center, that is probably one of the best mall in America. Very good area, good restaurants. You're close to everything. It's really, really a great area. This is some rendering of the exterior of the building. As you can see, most of the units are going to have incredible view on the bay because this is going to be the tallest building. So there's really nothing on that side that is going to obstruct the view. You can see the top of the tower here. All the materials, it's going to be stone, it's going to be copper, it's going to be some incredibly luxurious materials. We're not going to spare any details here. There's going to be two different pool area. You're going to have one on this floor and then one on the rooftop. So you can see the rooftop pool here. Once again, you can see a little bit of the view from this rendering. Some other details of the tower from the bottom. And then also the lobby area, very, very classy, this black marble and the finishes that have been designed by Dolce Gabbana. Those are some of the finishes, or at least the option of finishes that you can find in the unit. So that's also something pretty incredible. Usually in new development, you don't really choose your finishes. You have one set of finishes that have been designed, and this is it. For Dolce Gabbana, they actually designed 4 or 5 different alterations, so you can actually customize your unit. So those are some of the examples. You can see the kitchen in this kind of gold tone, and then you have the darker vibe. Same thing for the bedroom. You have two different vibes. If I go to the next slide, you're going to see the same example for with another kind of finishes with marble with the black veins here, and then you have the darker tone here. And same thing on this rendering for the duplex. You can see two different kind of finishes. A little highlight of the pool area. So two separate pools. The one that you see on the left is going to be the lower level pool, and then you're going to have the one on the rooftop that comes also with a bar area. Some of the amenities, you can see the restaurant, bar area. You can recognize very well the Dolce Gabbana style here. The leopard print on the chairs, that is a symbol of the brand. So very luxurious, very unique. It's going to be a very unique project for Miami. Let's dive into the floor plan for a little bit. So I'm going to show you two units as well. This one is going to be the smallest one. Remember, there's no studios in the Dolce Gabbana Tower. It's going to start at one bedroom, and the one bedroom are pretty big. It's going to be 1,400 square feet for this one. And as you can see, it's a very well done floor plan with your private elevator coming into this private foyer area. Once you come in, you have your kitchen area on the right with a great room and living room opening on a terrace. This terrace of about 200 square feet is going to have a little kitchen area, outdoor kitchen. And then on this side, you have your closet, private bath, and the master principal bedroom on this side. So this unit start at about $2 million. It's a good example of what you can get on the smaller floor plan of this unit. Just as I did for the rider residence, I wanted to show you guys what I consider is one of the best floor plan in this building, which is the lockout option. So this residence here is going to be a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, uh, extremely large floor plan. We have a little bit over 3,000 square feet, so pretty big floor plan. Um, as you come out of the private elevator here, you're going to have a private foyer as well, with 3 separate entrances. So you have a first bedroom or hotel room, depending on how you want to call it, here on this corner with its own bathroom, pretty large surface. On this side, you're going to have another one here, as you can see, with its own entrance. And then you're going to have your living room and master bedroom on this side. Now, I'm going to show you the different variation of this floor plan. So as you can see here, we highlighted the different sections that you can rent separately. So just as a rider, you could live in one unit and rent out the rest of it. Or you could use absolutely the entire surface of the unit for yourself. Or you could use it entirely when you're here, and you could rent out the rest of it as 3 separate units when you're not there. So you have a bunch of different options here. It gives you a lot of flexibility, and I think as an investor, it's something that is quite important. This residence is just going to be about $4 million, which is a pretty good price for the quality of what you're getting and all the amenities and the prestige that come with this residence. And the HOA are estimated to be about $135 per square feet. This is just a small selection of new development that we have access to. We have reference about 146 new development in our portfolio. So if you didn't find what you were looking for in this webinar, please reach out to us and we'll do our best to help you out and find something that is a perfect fit. If you want more information on any of those residences that you just seen, you have a few different ways to contact me. You can reach out to me directly by email or via Instagram or WhatsApp. If you scan some of those QR codes right here, it's going to send you directly to those different platforms. So thank you so much for spending this almost an hour with me. I hope you enjoy it, and please feel free to reach out if you have any question.